Hi everyone, I am Christine Josty of Mail Something Pretty, and I welcome you to our weekly live. I'm just getting set up here as I'm waiting for people to hop on. Let me know that you can hear me and all is good. I think I have my setup good so that I don't have that big light in the screen, and I think it's close up enough. Someone said last week that it wasn't close enough up, so let me know that we're good as I unpack my box of things here, and then then we'll get started. I'm excited to show you what I have. I'm going to make a cute little pop-up tissue box for inside a Get Well cards. It's really cute. All right, I think that's all I need out of here. And I just need, sorry, a little unprepared, but I think I have everything now. I was actually just, oh great, we're working. First, and I'll say this a couple times as long as I remember, I posted a card giveaway today on my page, which is good, but it seems like some bot, I don't know, some computer bot is replying to a lot of you about another giveaway or you won or something. Don't respond to those. Don't click on anything. I just asked, that's why I'm late. I asked someone if I should actually take the post down, or I've been going in to delete them, but I will contact you, whoever the winner is. I just don't want you to click on anything you're not supposed to. So hopefully I'll remember to say that at the end for everyone who has joined in. So it looks like we have Cindy and Mary Lou and Nancy and Karen, at least who have commented actually. It looks like there might be more people watching, which is awesome. I should have turned my fan on because now I'm really hot, but that's okay. All right, so I'm going to actually just, you're going to see my cluttered desk, but that's all right. I think this is a little closer than it was last time. So someone had said that it the screen was too far away. So let me know as we're working if you can see what I'm doing. And okay. I was saying I move things around. So okay, so that's my workspace. Let's see if we can get this. It's funny, whenever I kind of make it straight on my desk, and then it's not straight on my camera. So let's see. There we go. And I'll push that up a little bit. Okay. Oh, thanks, Karen, for saying that. Yeah, that's why I was late. I sent an email to someone. If it keeps happening, I might just take the post down because I don't want you guys clicking on anything. And I will check that right when we're done with the live. But I went in and deleted all those. So I just think it's some bot that's responding. Okay, so what we're going to do today is I have two samples here. And so here is a sweet little Get Well card. And when you open it up, you have this little tissue box. And there's actually real tissue in there. And I'm going to show you how to do that. And so I had done one of these a long time ago. And I had to, you guys know that Anne was here, not last week, seems like last week, but the week before. And she, unfortunately, as she got home, she got sick. So I had actually made this card and posted it on her page. And so I'm going to send it to her, and she might even be watching, but that's okay. I haven't filled out the card yet. And so I thought I would make it for you guys because it's kind of fun. So it's basically the same version of the card, just using the two different apples. And, oh no. Ah, I can find it in the catalog. I thought I brought that stamp set up, but I must not have. This apple set, that's not what it's called, but let's see. Oh shoot, it's gonna take me a few minutes. If anyone knows what it's called before I find it in here, but it's in the annual, which is nice. And I just thought with the apples, it was really nice for Get Well cards. And I'm going to show you another version that does not involve coloring. Let's see. You'd think I have this catalog memorized, but I don't. All right, let's see. If I don't come across it quick, I will find. Oh, here it is. Perfect. Okay. It's called Apple Harvest. Yeah, you can see it. So you have the big apples, or I should say the bigger stamp with 3 apples. You have one with a sliced apple, and that's the one I'm going to color today. And then you have this solid apple. So it's kind of good for Get Well, but also for teacher gifts, or just, I just think apples are really nice. So that's where I found it. And then the paper is, this is also in the annual catalog. It's called Les Shops, which I'm sure I'm not saying that right, but it's kind of fun. It has all these different shops on it, but it has fun graphics on the back side. So I think this is the one I used, yeah. And then you get little houses, fun little blue and white. It's almost like a architecture blueprint, but there's kind of fun graphics in here. So, and I knew that was actually Anne's favorite paper, which is why I went to that pack first to do the card. Alrighty, it will be handy. No kidding, with cold and flu season coming up. All right, so the first thing I'm going to do is, I figured I would show you a little coloring, and then I will show you how I did the tissue box, or I call them Kleenex boxes, but not everyone does that. So I'm going to stamp with the blends, with a Memento black ink, and I write on my actual case blends so that I know when I'm going to use these blends markers, this is the ink I need to use, because it won't bleed. If I was to use the StazOn black, and which is an alcohol-based ink, and these alcohol-based markers, it would all run in together. So this, they don't kind of run in together. So this is what you want. And again, I just write it right on there. And I'm just going to ink it up this way. And I do have 2 squares in case I need to stamp twice. Oh, that's pretty good. That's actually down a little bit. Let's see. Let's see. I know I had 2 squares, but if I don't find it, we'll use this one. Let's try one more. It's hard with a red rubber to know exactly. And then my head's not going straight over it because I have my phone. I'm going to move it down so I can see what I'm doing. There we go. That's up. That one was just a little close to the edge. So we save that as a backup. I'm going to use this one. That aside, and then I'm going to use, now apples come in all different colors, right? So this one I'm just going to kind of do red, although my favorite apple is a green Granny Smith apple, and I eat very limited red apples. So what I'm going to do is I ordered, so I have the colors, and then, but they also sell skin tones. So this is the lightest of the skin tones, and I actually ordered specifically for the apple because I thought that would be a nice, where'd my card go? Here we go. I thought that was kind of the color of the inside of an apple. So that's what I did. So you know with the blends markers, you get a light and a dark. I'm actually going to start with the darker, and I'm just going to kind of, this one's a little bit more pink, and then the other one, it has a little bit more yellow to it. But I'm just going to follow these contour lines, and that's where my shading is going to go. And then I'm going to go on top here. You can kind of see, look at the difference. That's the darker, this is the lighter. And they have, I think they have 5 different skin tones, and then each pair has 2, so really you're getting 10 different color for skin tones, which is kind of nice. So I'm just kind of going over. I always move my paper around because I think I can see better when I color. All right, so I'm going to let that dry a little bit. Actually, no, I'm not. I have an ivory color, so I'm actually going to kind of go over this a little bit. And this is the beauty of the blends, right? So I can put colors kind of on top of each other and they blend together. So it just gives a little dimension of your picture. And then you can go back on top with that main color and that blends that in. So it's not quite as pronounced. You have, it's just more gradual. And I'm going to let that dry. Oh, Tracy's on here too. Perfect. We have a good group today. All right. So I'm going to let that color dry for a second. So I looked up the color of apple blossom flowers because some of my other cards, I was making them yellow just because I thought yellow I did yellow. I thought the yellow flowers were pretty. But apple blossom colors are different hues of pink depending on the type of apple, and white. So pink and white. So that's what I did here. I just kind of used a little bit of pink and I left some spaces white. So for the pink I used was the petal pink. So I'm going to use my light first. And I'm not coloring the whole thing because I want to keep some of that white. I'm just going to go around the edges of it. And this is a little flower here too. And then I'm going to go back with the lighter. Oops. Probably did a little more darker than I wanted to. But I do want to keep some of that white there. All right. We'll leave that there. We may introduce a little, oh, I didn't bring the yellow, a little something for the inside. So that's still a little wet, and so you can kind of feel how wet it is. So I don't want to introduce the red to this yet because then it could bleed together. So I think I'll do the leaves next. So that color, again, leaves are come in different colors. I picked my Old Olive colors. And so it's funny on this one. So if you can see, the leaf kind of goes straight into the branch. There's no like stopping point. So you have to kind of create your own of where the branch is versus where the leaf is on the colors. Hopefully that makes sense. So what I'm going to do is I'm using my light Old Olive. I'm actually going to cover most of the branch, not all of it, green. And I'm going to go back over that with some brown. So some people start coloring with the dark color first, and some do the light color first. And I actually mix them up depending on what I'm coloring. Because you can always add darker. It's harder to make it lighter. All right. And sometimes I leave a little bit, well, not as much as I wanted to, but white, so that has a little bit of like sunlight on there. All right. And I'm going to use just these contour lines as a little shading in there just to go over it with my darker Old Olive. Sometimes you put a little darker next to the two images to kind of separate, just to make them stand out. So that looks kind of funny like that, but I'm going to go back over it with the lighter and it will blend it together. I'm just going to put a little darker green in there. So blend markers, unless you're just doing a flat coloring, and sometimes that's all you want to do, but it's like it's repetition and it's coloring on top of coloring on top of coloring. So by doing this, so I did light first, then I did dark on the highlights, and then I'm doing light again kind of on top of it all, and it will kind of just smooth out the colors. So this is, so ivory comes paired with bronze. So this is really the only dark brown I have. They do have other colors, but this is the dark brown I have. And I actually like using ivory and bronze a lot. So just going over, sometimes the stems here are brown. So now that my stem kind of has a little green and brown in it. All right, that's still a little damp. Let's see. Oh, good. I'm glad that helps, Mary Lou, with the colors, the blends. Yeah, it's something that you can, I can do for hours, and it's fun. I'm going to put a little ivory on top of this because I didn't have a yellow, just to bring up a little bit of that too. Yeah, what I need to do is color and take notes and color and take notes, and then I can do a better job at teaching. But so I'm going to, and I don't usually do this, but for this one, I'm going to outline all around the edges of this apple. Now, if you were going to do this with like the Stampin' Write markers or Crayola markers or any other kind of markers, you would see when you were finished the outline. But the blends markers don't really do that, which is really nice. They it just becomes like all smooth. So even though I did that, you're not necessarily going to see it. But I wanted to do that just to kind of separate it from the leaf. So this tip is awful. So I need to replace this one. But for what I'm doing here, it's okay. And there are 2 tips. I have to be careful on the edge. There are 2 tips on each marker. So this fine tip works too. Sometimes I think the fine tip is actually a little bit darker. All right, so I'm just giving some shading in there, and I'm going to now just kind of dot a little dark red. Remember, you get the 2 colors, so this is almost like a cherry cobbler dark red, but it's just the dark real red. I'm going to stop there for a second, and then I'm going to go back. Actually, you know, sometimes apples have like just different colors in them, so I'm actually going to add a little green in there. Now, sometimes when you mix red and green, it turns brown. And that's kind of okay for this because I just want it to have a little bit of color. And now I'm going to go over it with it. The whole thing, the whole apple that I did with that same, the first color red, the lighter real red. Again, that will soften those edges that I put in there. And then we'll let it dry. And then you'll get the true color. Because sometimes you look at it, it just needs to kind of do its magic while it's drying. All right, so I'm going to go, actually I'm going to use this because this is a really fine area. So I'm going to use the fine tip. And I think moving your paper really helps. All right. And I think, see, we have that little shading there. So I'm going to choose, I think I'll just put some of that ivory right there. I thought about doing red, but I'm afraid that might be bleed into it. Let's put a little bit more. I tend to like the brush tip more than I like the fine tip. Okay, so it's still a little wet, but there's my drawing, or my coloring of the apples. All right. Oh, thank you. Yeah, it really is practice. And I actually wished I had more time to color. All right, so now we're going to do the fun stuff. This is what you came for, the pop-up box. So I have my card base, and I'm going to make this one. They're really the same, except for the direction of the card. So this one, I just figured it took longer to color. So I did the smaller apple. But this one has the little tissue box in there, and this one does too. So it's done the same way. And I already kind of pre-did. I already put a little, you can see a little wood grain. I think it's called timber. I just thought it kind of went with the wood of the tree. And that is my, all right. That was extra apple. All right, so what you need for the tissue box is a piece of cardstock. And you could do solid, but it's kind of fun with the designer. And doesn't this pattern look like a tissue box? I mean, really, it looks like one probably in my bathroom right now. So you need a size 2 3/4 by 4 1/2. So 2 3/4 by 4 1/2. And you're going to score it every inch. So at 1 inch, 2 inch, 3 inch, 4 inch. And so it's going to give you just a little 1/2 inch tap at the end, but each other one is going to be 1 inches. And then what you need to do, and I'm going to do this on this one. Is this one? Oh, this one's not scored. So let me score this one. I couldn't remember if I scored it. So it's 2 3/4 by 4, right? So what I said? 2 3/4 by 4 1/2. And I'm going to score it at 1. Now remember the designer paper, you don't want to press down too hard because it could rip. 2, 3, and 4. I'll just fold on those score lines. Let's see. Debbie says I'm left. Oh, I didn't know you were left-handed, Debbie. So I always have to move my paper. Yeah, my son's left-handed, and so I do try to be conscious of that because, yeah, you always end up with everything there. All right. All right, so that's all folded. And then you're going to take, so when I first learned this technique many, many, many years ago, luckily I remembered it because I couldn't find a sample. We used the word window punch. Do you remember that? It was kind of like oval. And so you just put it in and punch a hole. So it was perfect. But I don't have a punch that's that small. And again, you can adjust your tissue box. So if your opening is a little bit bigger, just made your tissue box a little wider, just keeping in mind the size of your card. So this little rectangle comes from this die set, the Timeless Arrangements. So you get 4 rectangles. No, you get 3 rectangles in this one. So you get more. This one's more squarish rectangle, and you get this smaller one. So just so you know where I got it, but I'm sure you have rectangles or ovals or something. So I'm gonna put that. So here's my little 1/2-inch tab. I'm gonna put it in the next one. I'm actually gonna put washi tape on it because I don't want it to move, or some sort of repositional tape. And now we're going to, because this will fit my little mini machine. And here we go. And if you watched another time, I have it labeled which ones, because some mini machines are actually, you have to make slight adjustments. So how I use mine is a little different than what they say. So I want to do die cutting. So I wrote right on my plate, I need to use this plate and 2 clear. And that way I don't have to think. So I'll put that plate down first, put a clear plate down, put my paper down, and make my sandwich. It fits right through. Writing on these, if you have the mini machine, really, really, really helps. All right. I'm going to carefully peel that off. It shouldn't rip the paper. There we go. So now we have our opening. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use tear and tape. The examples I used, I did use glue, but tear and tape, well, it's just, I don't have to wait for it to dry. Since we are live, you don't have to watch my glue dry. So I'm going to put tear and tape here. And then this is going to, we're really creating a box, right? And so I'm going to put tear and tape 2 other places. On the bottom one. And I just have to know which one. So that's going to go on the wall, and then this one. So the 2 bottom ones. All right. And you can do that as you put your card together. But you'll see this is gonna attach to the card, and this is the bottom. So I just don't want any tear and tape on the top or here. So let's put our card together first, the front. So it's gonna go this way, and I have my wood grain. So I'm gonna use glue for that because there's texture, and I just think the glue. Sometimes all those ridges and stuff, it just fits in there nice, or seals it nice. If you use the old snail or some other, you might have to just use extra adhesive when you have bumpy paper. And then this piece so it's 4 by, and this can be any, however you want the design of your card, but if you're curious, it's 2.5. Let me just show you so you can see the sample as I'm doing it. So I'm going to just put this here. Or maybe I'll do opposite for my lefty friends. Let's see, I could do it this way. How about we do that? So then we'll have 2 directions. Put that there. I think this paper really was designed for Kleenex boxes. That's going to go there. And I did 2. So let's see. I think this one's a little better. I'm going to put this here. And actually, that's good because I was having trouble. This way, I didn't want it to cover my apple or the open apple. So that's perfect. So that will go like there. So I'm going to put dimensionals. And you see how you can see the coloring through? You actually want that because it just means that you got enough color saturation on your image. I have not had anything bleed to, actually, maybe I did. Look, maybe I did. So always work on a scrap underneath when you're coloring. That way you don't get unwanted color on anything. All right, that's going to go like that. And then I'm going to tie my linen thread. I'm going to close my glue so it doesn't clog. I'm going to show you, we did a very similar card for club yesterday, but it wasn't color, but it's the same format as this. Where do I want my bow? Bow here. I might do the bow over here. So I'll show you another version of it, but we didn't put the Kleenex box or the tissue box inside. All right. If you have trouble, like if you need an extra finger, sometimes for this, I actually have fun news to share. Mary Lou yesterday tied her own bow, and she said I could say it out loud. I even took a picture. She's very proud, as she should have been, of herself. But you can always use scissors as an extra finger like that. She did a really, really good job. All right. There we go. So there's a little bow. I just love linen thread. I think it matches everything. And this I'm going to put here. And I was going to use, they fell on the floor, surprise, surprise, the foam strips. But I'll just make my own. Because the foam strips fit so nicely here because they're so skinny on the top and bottom when you have ribbon or twine. But they are out of my reach at the moment. Yes, Mary Lou hates tying bows, but she did it. She earned her gold star. And I know not everyone likes tying bows, so if you don't want to tie a bow, you can either just not do the ribbon or the twine, or just tie a knot. All right, there we go. Hope you are feeling, it's just so pretty just by itself. And so now we're going to put the tissue box on the inside. So remember I have my box. It's all scored at 1 inch or each of 1 inches to make a cube. And so we're first going to start by closing our box. So I'm going to take the tear and tape of the little skinny tab, the backing off first. And I'm just going to close this because it's be nice and flat. And I know I will have now 90-degree angles on each side. So we're going to, oh, shoot. Hold on. I missed a step. Darn it. Hold on a second. Well, hold on. I could do it. Okay. We forgot to put the tissue inside the box. That was actually important. All right. So I have, this is half because I've made 2 cards so far. So this, and I cut a tissue in half, and I'm just going to cut it and then half again. So I get 4 quarters for each piece of tissue. I tried cutting it on my paper cutter. It did not do so well. So now I'm just going to kind of fold it in like that. I'm going to tuck it in like that, right? So that's going to be our tissue box. And then I'm going to just take Scotch tape or some sort of adhesive, and I'm just going to tape that straight down to the inside of the box. So this is going to stick because I have tear and tape. So when the box is up, it's going to look like a tissue box. Okay, so now pretend that I didn't, mess that up. Take the strip off the sticky tape whatever, tear and tape, and I'm going to close that down. So now we have our box. It was still sticky. So I'm going to put it in the card so that when we open it up, it's going to look like that. I'm going to fold this down. I'm going to line this fold up with a fold of the card. I'm going to center both sides. And now I'm going to take that sticky strip or the tear and tape backing off. And I'm just going to close my card because the fold is there, so I know that's going to line up, and just press. So it's going to go like that. And then I'm going to fold it up. I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to take that off and then fold the card again. And that way, I just think it's easier. Just fold it down. I know it's flat. It will fit in the envelope rather than trying to like carefully place it and then it's crooked or it's not adjustable. But that way, the angle lines up. And then if your tissue is floppy, you can always, tuck it in again like that. I just think it's so cute. And then I have, this is an old set, but this is one I like. So I keep this one around because I love this. Sending you healing vibes, wishing you a quick and complete recovery. And the flowers are nice, but I just really like those words. So I'm going to stamp that on the inside. And hopefully it doesn't smudge or anything because, it's red. But I'm matching the apple on the front. Here we go. Sending you healing vibes. And the other one would look nice too, quick recovery. So that is how I did my little tissue box. And I think I'm just going to add, I brought up some gems, which are, here they are. I put a couple here. So let's see, we'll just add a couple just for a little extra. Well, actually, I'm going to put them on this side. Just for a little something extra. Okay, so those are that version, and then this is the portrait. So if you do the portrait, you need to cut your cardstock so it opens this way rather than open that way, because I think that would look kind of like a silly box. So if you do portrait, just cut your paper so it's 11 inches long. And then this is kind of falling out, so I have to fluff it up a little bit. So aren't they cute? All right, so let me see what everybody wrote here. If I missed any questions or anything. It's cute. Hello. Great. Oh, I'm glad you like the explanation. Got a couple left-handers on the group. All right, love it. Pretty card. Perfect, perfect. Hi, Candy. Kind as usual, but got on before the end. Oh, awesome. Very cute card. Love the tissue box. Yes, it is fun. All right, so let me put myself back on here. Great. So thank you very much for watching. I mentioned at the beginning, I'm going to go now and check it. I had posted a post on Facebook about a handmade card giveaway, which I'm doing for people who write different things. And somehow I think some bot got on and is commenting on all the comments about another lucky giveaway or something. Just ignore it. I'm trying to go in and delete them. I just don't want you to click on anything. So after you write your comment, don't click on anything. I'm going to pull in, I'm going to randomly do a name picker upper thing to see who is the receiver of all the handmade cards. And in the meantime, I have a email into someone to let me know if I should just take the post down or if there's something I can do so that bot doesn't write comments on there. So I just wanted to give you a heads up about that. Oh boy, it's right, Tracy. It's like beyond my knowledge. Okay, so I'm glad you guys like it. Oh, Cindy, I don't think I realized you were lefty also. Okay, I'll have to make a note of that for when it's Left-Handers Day. So anyways, I'm glad you like the cards. I will post pictures of them so you guys can see them. And I actually have picture directions in words. I'll post that. Maybe I'll post that on my blog. And so if you work better with written directions versus video, I will do that at some point. All right. So thank you very much for watching. I hope you enjoyed it and don't get sick so I don't have to send you a card. And have a great week. Thanks. Bye-bye.